Hey everyone, welcome to Princess of Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with another episode of Chainsaw Man, specifically episode 9. And last time shit got real. I've seen I've seen shows, and a lot of shows actually do this, where it reaches a certain point and it's like, okay, we're done with the character development, we're done with the setup. Let's actually get into the meat of things now. There are a lot of shows like this where it just suddenly drops a huge, just massive reveal or power drop or so on and so forth. For example, One Piece. I would say the big moment for that was Mihawk. When Mihawk is brought into the series during the Baratie arc, the series kind of like goes from being just this fun little uh, pirate show, this fun little cute pirate show, to being like, oh, they are setting big shit up. Oda is planning shit with this. Like, you're seeing the very best swordsman in the world, Zoro's goal, this damn early. And that's a big deal. That's a big deal because it shows you the power ceiling right off the bat. And this is what we're working towards, or at least Zoro. So there's a lot of shows that do this though. A lot of like modern cartoons will like start to showcase the big changes and big story beats and stuff starting around episode 10 or so of the first season. Um, and they'll kind of drip feed you little bits before really getting you to the heavy stuff. Um, but there's always those moments where the show becomes something else, where it's like, oh, this is not just this cute, fun show anymore. This is something that has more to it. And mind you, this series is very different in that regard. Because with a show like this, it's obviously handled differently already. It's very action oriented, very heavy right from the start. A lot of heavy action, a lot of heavy depth to the characters, a lot of intense situations. So how do you possibly take that further to showcase that, oh yeah, the show's really going to be starting now? Well, have a bunch of your main characters die, or presumably die at least. Have enemies that are so much more powerful than anything we've seen before that it feels like such a massive jump that it's shocking. These are definite ways. And there are some caveats to this, of course, because we don't know like the full truth of everything. Makima appears to be dead, but we don't know if she really is, and I believe she's not, because I also believe she's a devil. And I've also been watching reactions from other reactors for this series, and other people have already been guessing that as well. There's a lot of other reactors who have already been guessing she's a devil, so I'm not the only one who sees it. So she's most likely going to return in my eyes and in a lot of people's eyes. We did not see Kobeni or Arai killed. We saw the old woman pointing the gun at them. We heard 2 shots as it showed this other person walking their dog. And that's it. We don't actually know that they were killed there. It actively chose not to show that. So that's interesting to me. Unlike Makima, who it did show. Unlike Himeno, which it did show. So there's a lot of questions. There's a lot to still ponder regarding this. And it does truly make you wonder, what is going to happen? How is this going to be resolved? How are things going to escalate from here? if this is only the true start of the much heavier tone, the much more insane tone of this series, then where does it go from here? Because it's like we're already like having like characters die, and I assume more characters will die, including main characters. Denji is the only one who I think does have plot armor here, honestly. Um, which sucks ass to say, but he is the only one who I think has plot armor here. Um, I just there's so many questions because the thing is there's a lot of setup for these characters. There was setup for Himeno. There was actively setup for her to have more to do in this series. And they actively chose to kill her off to subvert the expectations. The creator of this, the original mangaka, that is a mad genius move. Because it's like there was so much that was being set up for her. There was so much that was clearly in the works for her. And then you just kill her off to basically say, like, oh no, fuck those expectations. We're doing what we want, and we are going to make this impactful. I think it actually makes the death more impactful because there seemed to be a lot in her future. To have her die like this, and to also have it be a self-sacrifice to save Aki, makes it so much more impactful and so much more meaningful. I think that it also fits with the series and what we've heard about Devil Hunters. Because from everything we've heard, Devil Hunters die kind of randomly. They'll just die on a job or in just very sudden circumstances without any warning or anything. That's just how it is. That's how the job is. And so it's very interesting, the idea that you would take that in such a strong literal direction to have with our main characters. Like, to set things up, to have like active plans for that character in the future, and then just to take it all away. Just because it subverts expectations, but it also shows the reality and the heaviness and the grimness of this world. It was perfectly set up. It was well handled. It's sad, though, because while Himeno wasn't perfect, while she had some issues to her, she was a very likable character. She was fun, she was funny, she was entertaining to watch, and she clearly loved the shit out of Aki. Like, even before she blatantly admitted that in her plan with Denji, it's like, it was very fucking clear how much she loved him. Very fucking clear. And so it's like you kind of wanted to see something come of that. And then they just take it all away from you. But a bigger thing here is that we do basically have the confirmation from last episode that this is all on the orders of the Gun Devil. Because, I don't know his actual name. Katana Man, he said, I don't know if his actual name was said. Actually, I don't think it was. But he said, before turning into Katana Man and before even shooting Denji and everything, that the Gun Devil wanted Denji's heart. And we know that Pochita is Denji's heart right now, so I assume he wants the Chainsaw Devil. For what reason, I don't know, but I assume that's what that means. So this also very heavily confirms, like, it's not even a question, that Katana Man and presumably the woman as well that we see that they're working for the Gun Devil. So the Gun Devil is not just a force of destruction, but is intelligent enough to have minions in a way, and created this entire hit that's currently going on. Now, the random people, like the old woman who all pull out the guns, and, you know, the ones who shot Makima and the guy who's with her, the old woman again who was pointing the gun at Kobeni and Arai. It's like they were most likely being mind controlled or something, which I don't know if that's something the Gun Devil does or if that's someone else. But if multiple people here are working together with the Gun Devil, then it could be someone else. There's a lot that the last episode set up. So I'm very, very curious and excited to see where it goes with all of that. I don't know what to expect with this episode. I'm getting to it pretty much right away as soon as I can, to avoid spoilers. I don't know how they're going to get out of this. I don't know if the bad guys, quote unquote, are going to escape or just leave. I don't know if they're actually going to be defeated. I don't know. But I'm excited to find out. This series has been fantastic. Bloody great so far. I'm really enjoying the shit out of it. And if this is truly the start of what this series is going to be going forward, then that's exciting. So let's get into it and hope for the best. When the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So, with that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. I'd say this was the calm after the storm and everything, like, after everything that happened last episode. This was kind of like the fallout from that and all, but at the same time, it's like, oh no, crazy shit still happened in this episode too. So Makima is alive, which, yeah, that was obvious. It was obvious she was going to survive, and again, the fact that it was obvious she was going to survive makes it also very clear that she is a devil. It's like, I felt it was pretty damn clear already, but again, like I said in the reaction, for those who may not have guessed that ahead of time or had been on the fence, this basically confirms it. There is literally no other way she could have survived unless maybe you could possibly infer that she has a contract with some devil that is able to keep her alive or keep her from being killed like that. But that seems very far-fetched. Like, even for this show, that seems like a little much. It's much more likely that she herself is a devil. It just seems like way too obvious with everything else accounted for as well. We also found out what happened with Kobeni and Arai. It wasn't clear with that because it didn't show it last episode. So we find out that the old woman shoots Arai through the neck, but before she can shoot Kobeni, he jumps in the way and takes the bullet to the head himself. Kobeni then responds by forcing the old woman to shoot herself in the head, killing her instantly. So Arai died a hero. He saved Kobeni's life, and he died truly doing good. I respect the shit out of him. I mean, I liked him already. I thought he was completely fine as a character. He wasn't given as much focus or depth as like Himeno or even Kobeni. But I liked him, especially when he was helping Denji out, getting him to puke up the, well, puke and everything. I just got a little nauseous thinking about that again, Jesus. Oh, no, because I said puke up the puke, and then I thought about the fact that Denji swallowed the puke, and that made me really nauseous. Oh my god. Um, but yeah, and seeing how he goes out in this episode, saving and protecting his partner, it's like that's exceptionally respectable. It's like that is a. I mean, obviously, you wish he didn't have to die for it, but that is a great way to go, nonetheless. He definitely deserves some kudos for that, for being a hero and for being a good person. Um, Kobeni, meanwhile, goes and finds Denji. She finds the others who are working with the with the shooters and all, and she saves Denji by attacking them without using a devil contract, but just being exceptionally skilled. Really fast, really agile, and really fucking skilled. She takes off Katana Man's arm. She actually scares the ever loving shit out of, I think her name was Sawatori. Um, which it's like, prior to this, with the entire squishy bits, which I'll get to in a minute, like Sawatori really has been very composed. Like even during that, she was mostly composed. But then it's like she freaked out at Kobeni. Kobeni actually scared her. And it's like, I dig that. I don't care what anyone says. I do not give a shit. I like Kobeni. I really like Kobeni. I would actually say she's one of my favorite characters. Um, I think she's precious. I think she's really adorable, and I really feel for her. I sympathize with her exceptionally. I don't agree with what she did, but she got to finally apologize to Denji. This girl is so fucking traumatized. This girl is so anxious and scared that it's like the fact that she was even forced into this line of work in the first place is absolutely terrible. But now she needs to get out of it. She needs to get out of it and get a better life. She needs to make better so that she can that she can be happy. She deserves happiness. And I hope she can get it. I really do. But let's talk about Makima. So after being resurrected and reaching the station where she was heading, she meets up with the two from Kyoto she was set to meet, and asks them to get a bunch of death row inmates and bring them to a high up temple. At which point she somehow knows the names of a bunch of the humans working with um working with Katana Man and Sawatori and all of them, serving under the Gun Devil. I at first thought they were maybe being possessed, but maybe those ones weren't. Maybe it was just like the random citizens we saw that were. Unless they were also just not being possessed either. I don't even know at this point. But either way, she somehow knew their names. I don't know if she found it out from the ones on the train who had tried to kill her, or if she does have some kind of devil contract that allowed her to know that, or if it's part of her power even. But somehow she found out the names, and she started killing them using the death row inmates. The death row inmates would speak their name, and then she would use her powers to make squishy. If you've seen Hunter x Hunter, specifically the chairman election arc following the Chimera Ant arc. If you know who Alika is, you understand why. You might understand why this is wild to me to see. I don't think I've ever seen this kind of death in anything else before this besides Hunter x Hunter. I mean, it might be in other stuff, but Hunter x Hunter is what I know this kind of death for. And so seeing it here, one, freaked me out because that is so fucking scary. Like, oh my god, it probably hurts so fucking bad. Like, that is probably exceptionally painful before death. Like, oh my god. And then on top of that, it's like seeing the others around you being compacted and squished like that, and knowing it's possibly going to happen to you, probably going to happen to you as well. The amount of fear that would be going through my head at that moment, I would have shit myself 10 times over. I would have shit myself. I would have pissed myself. I would have puked. I would be crying. I would be in the fetal position. I would be begging for my mommy. I would be doing all of it. That would be one of the scariest fucking things. Like, oh my god, I would be freaking the fuck out. And I'm not afraid to admit it. I am very much not afraid to admit I would be losing my absolute shit. And it's so uncomfortable to watch too. Just the idea of that is so fucking freaky and scary. It's just like, ugh, I hate it so much. It's like, I've watched a lot of like horror movies and gory shit and whatnot, and there's not a lot that actually does bother me. There's not a lot that actually really bothers me. There's only like, I think, like, for example, in Terrifier, there was like one death that really got to me, and only like maybe one or two deaths in Terrifier 2. But it's like, with anime especially, it's like very little of that actually really gets to me. The one example I always bring up, though, is Blood Sea with the bunnies. Basically, that entire, like, kind of ending sequence of events that happens in that show when all the demons, I can't remember what they're actually called, come up and invade the town and everything and start killing all the people, and it's just like pretty much everything in that. The chimera-like creature attacking the twins, the bunnies killing all the citizens. It's just like it's one of the very few things in anime that has actually left such an impact on me in terms of disturbing me so bad that it's something I cannot erase from my mind. I have actively tried to get it out of my head. I can't. It's genuinely one of the most disturbing things I've ever seen in media. And I don't know why it's as disturbing as it is to me. I don't know why it's so much worse than other things that I've seen. I mean, I've watched stuff like Another. Another has some pretty creative and insane deaths. I've watched the Final Destination movies. I've seen a lot of this shit. And yet, for some reason, stuff like that bothers me so much more. And this is on that level. Like, when I saw that in Hunter x Hunter, that freaked me out then. It bothered the shit out of me then. So seeing it again here, just like, not comfortable with that. Not one bit. Jesus fuck. Ugh. It's effective, though. I wonder why she didn't know the names of Katana Man and Sawatori, though. I wonder why they specifically were left out. It does interest me as to why. So outside of that, we know that Power ran away. We know that Aki is just kind of unresponsive at the moment, but not actually dead. It's just, shit has really hit the fan. And, like, even Denji as Chainsaw Man could not defeat Katana Man. He wasn't as strong as him. They were fighting pretty evenly for the most part, but Denji also severely underestimated what Katana Man would do, because Denji's a lot nicer of a guy. And it's just, in the end, his own kindness is really what was his downfall in that battle. But also, let's be honest, like, I do truly believe that Denji would have lost anyways. Denji's wild and crazy and unpredictable, but at the same time, Katana Man has a lot more experience with this form. That's very clear. And is also a lot more just evil, I guess you could say. He's much more willing to go a lot harder than Denji is. And Denji's willing to go pretty fucking hard. He crazy. Our boy is crazy. We know this. He's willing to kill people. He has no qualms about that. But Katana Man is much worse still. Either way, this was maybe not as actively surprising as the last episode, but still just as insane. And, like a couple episodes ago, it had the added bonus of making me feel nauseous. But for a different reason. God, I hate that. I'm thinking about it again, and it's just like, Jesus. Either way, tell me in the comments below, what did you think of this episode of Chainsaw Man? For now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.